Listen, let me apologize to everybody who was in the room waiting, including you, Markel. We just started a whole live on the wrong stream, and I apologize. We were having like a whole conversation. We were live. We were arguing already. We was talking about Markel, talking about us, and that's all my fault. It is 100% my fault. So for those of you that are still in the room, I apologize that you were waiting because we real legit had started this live 10 minutes ago. Like legit. But we here now. L Teddy will be here in a minute and we'll go ahead and get started. So I do apologize to everybody except for Markel.
Not everybody except for Markel. That ain't right.
Because it legit says live reaction cooking with Georgia. You know what? I don't know how I did that.
Hold on, I'm gonna share this on my Facebook page.
Yeah, let me make sure that's going. You know what that is though, Markel? That's your fault. What that says is it's time for you and George to give us another segment.
That's what that means.
What that says. The fact that I started a whole stream of something that it ain't supposed to be.
Hold on, I need to put some more lipstick on.
So with that being said, hey everybody. I don't know who is still in here and who isn't, but I'm welcome. I'm sorry once again for those of you who left. I see Jonathan was here, Mr. Beauty, my little baby. So welcome you guys. I hope that whoever left finds their way back. And I was actually getting ready to see gotta find my way back. But you know, here he comes. Let me know when you're ready, El Teddy. I guess that's you letting me know you're ready. Okay. All right. You had crab legs tonight? Okay. You found a restaurant. I'm happy for you. Now, Jonathan, is that on your list from the doctor? I'm a fuss at you now. Is that on your list from the doctor? As I look at both my chins.
That's it.
Anyway, so welcome everybody. I'm glad you guys are here. Thank you for coming through. Hey Sylvia, what's up? So even though little brother and big sister seem to feel like I made this whole thing up in my head.
You did.
I'm mad Jonathan said he is covered under the blood of Jesus. You know that?
And you are absolutely Ashandamai. Come on, Jonathan. You are covered under the blood. Yes.
I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
Never lose this power. You better come on here with a word on this Good Friday night.
Praise the Lord with the crab leg.
All that. First, giving honor to God. Pastor. First lady. All the saints in their respective places. Hallelujah.
So can I have a moment? Can I have a moment? Can I have a I did it first moment? Huh?
You know how I feel. I can't breathe. I don't know. I'm claustrophobic. I can't. Like, it's too much.
You were in a whole room. You were in a whole room.
I can't even see my whole face.
But I can't. Because you're sitting too close to the damn camera. Pull back.
There's no pulling back. Where am I pull back to? Where I'm going?
I mean, I don't understand why Teddy and I are here and you are here. I don't get that.
I mean, you could push the chair back.
You probably could do that. You could do that.
Or you could just fix the squares. I don't understand why.
Look at that right there. Look at that. Boom.
But then it'd be all titties, and then y'all gonna say something about that. So,
but you were the one who put your titties out.
I just listen. It beats what it is. Oh, so you got a Red Bull and you're not sharing? Oh, okay. All right.
You're the reason why I'm drinking this Red Bull. I just need you to know. I ain't thought about a Red Bull in years. And
one so good.
And my ass drinking Red Bulls again.
Listen, I'm about to text my daughter. Get me some Red Bull.
Anyway, so we've been doing our retro reviews, and if I must say so myself, I came up with this idea months ago, and I shared it with El Teddy, and we started doing them and all of that. And now I look around the good YouTube intranet, and there's a whole lot of people doing retro reviews, Teddy. I just want to say I started doing them first. Anyway, so
I could have sworn this was El Teddy's idea.
No, I took it to El Teddy. It was my idea.
She did do retro reviews. I came up with the shows.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. It was.
Yeah, he did come up with The Wire, but I came up with the idea of doing retro reviews. Anyway,
I'm gonna have to do a season ending, different world where I stop and just do all the episodes in one big.
Yeah, because I'm still doing a different world. The episode.
I'm so behind on the different.
I'm so behind. The episode because I started watching them and then I just stopped watching the whole season because I couldn't stop. It was like crack. I couldn't stop.
Well, I started the episode last night. Is the episode you will probably love talking about. El Teddy is the one where they were pledging. So I thought about you the whole time I was reviewing it. Anyway.
Oh, that's a good episode. Even though they tried to combine 12 different, all 9 sororities for.
Well, I wasn't crazy about that episode, but neither here nor there. So we are done with season 1 of The Wire. We have started season 2, even though nobody seemed to have gotten the memo, but I know I had the conversation.
First of all, mine has debuted. I don't understand. My episode has dropped.
Exactly. So you got the memo. 1. You got the memo.
Because you I'm still mad. My face is squished and squared. I can't breathe. Neither one of y'all care about my feelings. But
I'm sorry. Really, I just found what we were talking about, and I'm looking. That's why I'm looking like this.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we got you.
I'm scrolling.
Let me know like I said, it may not be anything, but I'd rather you know, and it not be an issue.
Looking. I'm scrolling.
Okay. So
hold on. Oh, I'm sorry. I just had an epiphany that my daughter said, "Ma, can I take some of your Jack Daniels?" And it never reappeared back in my bedroom. Hold on. And bring my bottle of Jack. Ho. This is not how this works.
We added the hoe to it? Okay.
No, I didn't. I thought it real hard at the phone.
I get it. So, hey, Jaded. What's up, boo?
Hey, Jaded, baby. First of all, I saw you on your live at the desk like you was a news reporter. That thing took me down. I'm just listening.
Hold on, Jaded. You have the wrong link. If you decide to come on, I'm going to send you the right link if you decide to come on. He said he never finished season 1, but just in case you decide to join us, let me send you the right link because I sent the wrong link out, child. And Jaded will be over the other side trying to figure out where everybody is, and I'll be over here not understanding. All right, I just sent you the right link, Jaded. So season 1 of The Wire. Now remember, The Wire itself was supposed to be a standalone miniseries. There was only supposed to be this one season because if you pay attention, there was a beginning, a middle, and an almost end because it was also based on a true story. Mm-hmm. So some of the characters are based on real people. Some of the characters are just that they're characters that were added for the purposes of, the drama and all that good stuff. And so we have our main characters. This whole thing was precipitated by McNulty, who admitted by the end of the season that it was all for his own personal edification.
Which we knew from episode 1.
Huh?
Which we knew from the very first episode.
I was about to say, I don't think anybody thought anything different other than him. Maybe he thought there was a difference. Maybe he thought he was doing something different, but I don't think anybody thought he was doing anything different. So overall, looking back on it with 2020 eyes, overall, does it stand up? Is it still what it was when the first time you saw it? Does it stand up 30 years later? 20 years, however many years, child?
It does, because the same shit that was happening then is happening now.
Sad but true. What about you, El Teddy? Does it stand up?
Oh, it certainly still stands up. It's still in my top 5.
Still in your top 5? Okay.
Listen, even if I had gone back and rewatched season 1 and thought season 1 wasn't as wouldn't hold up, which it still does. But even if I thought it didn't, season 4 alone is enough. Season 4 alone
Season 4 tends to be everybody's favorite season.
is enough.
Okay, so it's okay. It might be my favorite too. I just don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't know if it's my favorite.
Who had on bell bottom jeans and what? Little baby. Hold on, I'm trying to figure out what
bell
little
bottom
baby.
jeans and hair flips. Who the hell had on bell bottom jeans, little baby?
That is my question.
I don't remember no bell bottom jeans. And whose hair was flipped? Whose hair was flipped? Anyway, I don't remember that one, little baby. You have to give us the episode that you talk about, child. We don't talk about, child. Okay, so as far as police work is concerned, even the police work of it, still, I think in that moment, what we saw with Freeman, the fact that they even figured out that, wait a minute, there's a code here. You know what I'm saying? Did y'all like do you think that that's something that when we look at police work and trying to find the drug dealers today and all that good stuff, like are we still looking at something that's like inventive, something new, or even with that, is that dated?
Well, the police, we got to think that at the time, the internet, Al Gore's internet, was it back then? Was it what it is today? This was 2002. I remember 2002.
When you started grad school?
Yeah. At the end of 2002, I started grad school, and it was not what it is today. It wasn't. Oh, just go Google this and you'll find.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it wasn't that easy.
Nope. People were not sending text messages, and not that there wasn't that capability, but because you had to press all of them damn buttons, and you were charged by the text for each text. You were charged. Remember, it was a cost to send text messages back then, and you had to go just in there. One sentence might have took you how long, because you had to press all of the buttons, like to get to the letter.
Right.
C. You had to press read.
Right, like my name starting with the letter C. It's like every time I wanted to say something with my name in it, okay? Even my nickname, it was like AB.
So you listen, you want to know text message? Oh God, don't remind me. But my point being that
right, Bobo, call me after 9.
It was right at the cusp of going from analog to digital. It was right kind of like in between. So you saw a little bit of both there. And so what amazed me is the amount of green police officers that they allowed to be on the case, which showed you that. And I guess it made sense because they really just didn't give a shit. And that was a part at the beginning of the season where Deputy Chief Burrell just said, well, whatever, have these people, I don't really care, just give us a couple people to arrest, shoot us, get us some drugs to put on the TV, and we'll be out of here.
Basically, and that's all they wanted. They just wanted the quick sale, like you said, give us a couple, let's get a table full of drugs and let's make it look good, but we really don't care about what's going on down there. You know what I'm saying? In the infamous words of Ice Cube, aka Doughboy, either they don't know or they don't show. They don't care about what's going on down here in the ghetto.
Yep. Wait, no, remember when they redid that on Don't Be a Menace in South Central? When they talk about either what they don't know, they won't show, and it won't grow because they don't. I was like, you know what? This is so damn silly.
Listen.
I can't.
Oh, God.
So let's go character by character. We talked about McNulty. I want to get caught up on McNulty. What about Daniels? He's Lieutenant, right? Lieutenant Daniel.
Lieutenant Daniels.
Well,
All right, what about
first
Daniel?
we didn't talk about McNulty, or are we saving him? Because you know I'm gonna bring up the part that you disagree with me about.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I feel like we already talked about that.
No, we ain't talking about the fact that I say McNulty had racist tendencies in him with regard to that. See how she look at me when I say that with regard to Daniels. He does.
He
There's
does not.
element.
It wouldn't have mattered what color Daniels was. He was going to act the exact same way. If he had, if the white man had done
look
what
how
he
look
did,
how
he would have done
reacted
the same
raw.
thing.
He doesn't do major raws like he does Daniel.
Oh yes, he did. That's
No,
how
he
this
did
whole
not.
shit got started.
No.
Him trying to do an in run around Rawls.
But it was a run around Rawls. He didn't in your face disrespect Rawls. He didn't even in your face disrespect his sergeant Langford, the big guy. But Daniels, it was blatant disrespect right to his face. Bitch, I don't give a shit about you. I will be insubordinate right in your face in front of everybody. He never did that to Rawls. Rawls always had to call him to the office and say, bitch, I found out such and such. Explain this shit to me.
So what would you prefer, for him to be in your face, I don't respect you, and out in the open, or for him to do what he did to Rawls?
Have that same energy for Rawls that you do for Daniels. Have the same energy. Matter of fact, Daniels held him down way more than Rawls ever did.
We know that.
But he didn't have that same smoke. It wasn't the same energy, which goes back to, and I think really being, you probably can speak to this more than I can really be. I'm the part that I haven't said it yet. The fact that the Baltimore had much more of a black hierarchy in the police system. Yeah, the chief.
I don't know nothing about Baltimore.
Oh, okay. Well, at that time they did have a white.
A whole other city down the road.
There's a whole lot more black people in positions of power in that police department that was there at that time than in some other police departments. And I think white privileged ass McNulty couldn't deal with it.
What?
He showed his ass.
Okay.
Somebody else agrees with me. It's not just
okay. Here's the thing. You feel the way you feel, and I feel the way I feel. And, like, I respect your opinion, but I don't agree with it. Like,
right.
You are absolutely entitled to your incorrect opinion.
I'm just saying I don't agree with it. Do I think that there was some prejudice as far as, like, when we look at the whole, but I don't think that McNulty's prejudice was any different than anybody else's in that time period when they were just looking at the drugs as a ghetto problem, and that's what those people do down there. Like, I don't think it was any different than probably any other. Hell, we still dealing with it today. So, do I think that there was some prejudice involved? Yeah, but I think we saw it across the board. I don't think that. I mean, hell, even Hurt. I think Hurt was more offensive, and his best friend was black than McNulty was. I think there were things that Hurt said that were way more.
I think they came at it with two different tactics. I think they both were offensive, absolutely, because Hurt was out of order.
Yeah, I mean, Hurt.
And I don't want to tell what happens later on, but we know Hurt was out of order.
Yeah, Hurt got a pass because, you know.
And he even mentioned it this season, when he said, well, I probably didn't get promoted because I had too many profiling cases on my record. When Carver ended up getting promoted because he was working with Burrell.
Right.
And he was like, oh, I guess I didn't get picked. Because that's when Burrell skipped him. And he said, I didn't get picked because I had too many profiling cases on me. Now, I'm not going to lie. That was one time, even when I watched it again, I still didn't see that coming with Carver.
Neither did I.
Had forgotten about that.
I had completely forgotten that he was the snitch.
He wasn't the only one.
No, he wasn't.
No, because at first it was Santangelo. First it was Daniels.
Started snitching later on.
Yeah.
Right. Now that one, because honestly I had forgotten that, and I was shocked by it, because remember, even in my review, that review of that episode that Carver wasn't in, I was like, I thought it was just a situation where he just wasn't in that particular episode because of whatever.
Uh-oh.
I know, right? But we're gonna keep it going. We just gonna keep going. I didn't realize that um I didn't realize that that's what why he wasn't there, because it was like the whole setup, like for them to come back later on and be like, yeah. So the one thing that people didn't know about was the one thing that you got away with, because you were out at your little training or whatever. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the fact that Burrell had his minions and his moles throughout the season. I know, Sylvia, girl, we know. If you want to go on over there and come, we know, girl, we get it, we understand, child, but we're not gonna shut our live down. We're gonna keep it moving. Excuse me. But yeah, so it's a situation, it's a situation where I'm sorry, the moles. I got sidetracked. So the moles. So we know we had Santangelo. Like El Teddy just said, Daniels was even the mole at the beginning, because they said Daniels was set up really fail on purpose and we'll reward you for it. Like that was pretty much the deal.
But I don't think, to me, I don't think Carver, to me, and we never get a definitive as to when Carver started.
Right. He just said
I think he picked him up once Daniel stopped. Once Daniel stopped snitching to Burrell is when he picked up Carver. Because Carver said he called him into the office. He was like, well, what was I supposed to do? He's the...
Like the only time that I knew when it came out that I could say definitively that had to be Carver was when they were going to they said, let's not go and do the main stash house.
Mm-hmm.
Give them all the other information except for let's go, and remember when they went to go raid all of the places and they said we're not gonna raid the main stash house, because if we raid the main stash house then they'll change it up.
Right.
And then like hours later he was in a meeting
and they was talking,
and somebody called him and said, remember they came to the office
about him not
why y'all not. That was the first time that I could definitively say, okay, that had to be Carver, because we know at that point whatever his name, Santangelo wasn't snitching anymore at that point.
Right.
No, he wasn't.
So I don't know if between, I think at that point Daniel certainly wasn't telling Burrell a whole lot at that point. So that I do think that there was a period of time where Burrell wasn't getting a lot of information from, and I really think had he been, he probably would have been able to thwart a lot of the stuff that the judge kept trying to throw at him, or he would have saw it ahead of time prior to the judge.
That's what I was getting ready to say. I agree with you, because I think there are a lot of things, if Burrell had been getting that information from Carver from the time Daniel sort of stopped, or Santangelo, then there would have been some things he probably could have blocked off before they got there. Like definitely when they started going down to Annapolis and pulling them daggone campaign finance records, like he definitely would have put the kibosh on that one. But what I found interesting, remember, Freeman wasn't even telling a lot of them that that's what he was doing. Him and Pastrami Sandwich was doing a lot of that stuff by them on their side.
Well, it was him, Prez, and my boy Sidnor.
Yeah.
Sidnor.
Okay, so let's talk about the writing as far as
I think there is one character we have to address.
Well, go ahead, drop it out there.
We gotta address Wallace.
Listen, Wallace was a still hurt
character of the entire season. Every season has a character that you'd be like, no.
They ain't had to do Killmonger like that.
You listen. Wallace, you was like, come on, Wallace. Not Wallace. You didn't want that to happen. You really didn't want it. And then Even D, because remember, D always had a soft heart for Wallace.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he did.
He
Yeah,
always had the soft heart for
he,
Wallace. And, I think
he
everybody
actually put himself on the
collectively.
line for Wallace. He went out on a limb for Wallace.
And the fact that Bodhi couldn't even kill Wallace, it had to be Poot. And that was, poetic justice, that it had to be Poot. That nobody else was going to take Wallace out like that, because Wallace just didn't give you a reason to take him out. So the only one who could take Wallace out was Poot. And you was like, no, Poot.
Yeah.
No.
First of all, my feelings was hurt when he was in that room getting high, and then he fell over into that's what took me. Like that's what immediately jumped me into my feelings, is that he couldn't emotionally get over what happened to that boy till he started getting high and he was in that room on the listen. It's too much.
And I think you started off, I started off when I first watched it. My feelings for Wallace was the same as it was for Poot and Bodhi. But that first episode, I think it was like 3, when you went and saw him taking care of all the little kids and stuff like that in the neighborhood, and then you were like, oh, damn. All that you dealing with, you know what I'm saying? And so that's what made you go, damn, Wallace. And so after I remember how they made all the kids go away, like the kids conveniently were not home, and he was going through the house calling for them. I know y'all here. Where y'all at? Stop by. He was like, oh no.
But what I think that for me, that broke my heart, absolutely. But for me, what ran deeper was how Wallace and Poot too, because Poot was sort of like the de facto daddy. Wallace was the mama, Poot was the de facto daddy. The way they had created this whole little village of the orphans of the neighborhood, the kids whose parents had gotten strung out and didn't want to go into the system or were running from the system, but they really didn't have anywhere else to go. And that's just a really sad existence. Well, again, once we start talking about how badly drugs destroyed our communities, you look at that. Like, we have a whole village of kids that are essentially homeless and parentless, and rather than going to the system, they would rather live in abandoned buildings, eating takeout and juice boxes. You know what I mean? It's just, I think that broke my heart as much as seeing what happened with Wallace. The fact that Wallace had to do that, that he sort of had to play that role. I mean, I'm glad he was doing it, but just the necessity of it was sad,
Oh yeah. God damn it, Wallace.
Yeah, Mr. Zudi, it absolutely is worth watching. It's on HBO Go, so if you have HBO, it is absolutely worth watching. Yeah,
Little baby, I don't know how far you are in it, because I know you're watching it for the first time with us, but I'm telling you, by the end of the series,
you're gonna change your mind about Bodhi.
You will change your mind completely about Bodhi. Bodhi has a complete. I think when you watch The Wire, you
see character arc, and that what you
a whole character arc. You see the complete arc of a character change, and so I ain't gonna tell it, but yeah, when you get to that last season, I ain't gonna tell it, but yeah, even McNulty, because and I ain't gonna say what happens, but that one episode where it's all Bodhi and McNulty, that whole episode.
Yeah, well, I don't remember that episode either, so. Okay. It'll be new.
I know what you're talking about, El Teddy. You're absolutely correct.
A whole episode with just them two.
Well, let's throw another character out there. Let's talk about Omar. Who is actually my favorite character throughout the whole series. I love
Omar as a character, and I am biased because I am Black and gay, but Omar is the character is easily one of my favorite characters ever on television. Just that's so easily, yeah. The writing for Omar, the fact that he just broke everything that you thought that he would be, even in how he was a gangster, because you always expect a gangster to get his comeuppance, as you would say, or nah, this motherfucker ain't just rolling around nilly-willy, just Robin Hood and the people. You know what I'm saying? Like, unapologetic. I'm here.
Thank you. You took my word. I was like, I love the fact that Omar was always, from the first time we saw him to the last time we saw him, he was always unapologetically who he was.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's from, like you said, from the lifestyle he chose to lead to his sexuality. Like, he never apologized for who he was. He never made no excuses. He never played it off like, oh no, that's just some old shit I was doing while I was in jail just to get through. No, he was like, this is who I am, and it is what the fuck it is. If you got a problem with it, you can see my sawed off. Like,
and I gotta think, and I said it in my review the first time you meet Omar, is it was certainly groundbreaking and revolutionary because there was no Noah's Ark at the time that this came out.
right.
There was no masculine black male gay representation at all
That's true.
on any
I can honestly say that I believe Omar is the first
that I can remember.
gay character that I remember.
And then for him to be so gangster and so unapologetic and so like, oh, bitch, I'm gonna get this smoke. I'm here for it. It was, yeah, you couldn't.
So I still have nightmares about Farmer in the Dale. I hear Farmer in the Dale like, run, bitch, run! Omar coming! Omar is coming!
We started whistling that Farmer in the baby.
Omar coming! But let's be real. There were those characters in the hood. Like, I mean, Omar,
exactly, absolutely.
You know, there were those people in the hood, you know.
And not just Omar, even with Kima, you weren't seeing black gay lesbians on television loving on each other. Those two women were loving on each other.
They were. They were. And again, from the first time we saw the two of them together, they were in love, a couple in love. Like, that is what they were from the very first time we saw them together. And even that, now that scene broke my heart. That scene in the hospital where they were, for all intents and purposes, ignoring that woman.
It sure was. That was important
because they was confused. They was like, "Kima got a daughter."
Right.
No, nigga.
Right. And see, and even once Daniels told them, no, that's Kima woman, and somebody need to go talk to her. And you know, the major
white man refused to do it.
He was like,
that was the head guy.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. And you know, they would never do that to a police officer shot, to a spouse of an officer shot, even a boyfriend or a girlfriend of an officer shot. If it's a heterosexual situation, they would never do that.
Nope.
Below, I will say I'm not the biggest Idris Elba fan, but to me, this was Idris Elba in his finest moment. And I'm saying aesthetically or physically. This
Below in the whole series, boo. He's there from the beginning.
What happened?
She said, "When does Stringer Bell?" And I'm like,
episode 1. He in all the episodes, girl. What you mean?
This is the first scene of episode 1 for the second scene.
The very first scene, yes. Idris Elba was at his sexiest to me. And I'm not a person who'll be like, ooh, Idris Elba. I don't really care for Idris Elba like that. But this is when he was his sexiest to me in The Wire.
I absolutely felt like he was sexy as hell in The Wire. That was before we knew. And what's funny is when he was doing The Wire, none of us, I mean, the majority of the people didn't know he had that British accent.
Exactly.
But now that I look at it again, I can hear it actually now. Not clearly, obviously, but I can hear him covering up the British accent. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
You know what? It happens like that all of the time. Like when House first came out and you didn't know House was because I used to watch House religiously.
I never did
that he was British.
So y'all aware that McNulty is British too, though, right?
I did not know that.
Yes, he has the accent too. I saw it through because he was on some nighttime talk show, and I was like, "Oh, it's McNulty!" And then he started talking. I was like, "Wait a minute."
I find myself doing that when I watched and I reviewed the show For Life because the main character is British, and when you hear him talk, you go, "Oh yeah, he is." But you know, and I guess that's his American accent that he's putting on. Interesting. When Kima got shot, and
that broke
whether or not she was dead or not at the end of that episode. I remember that week when she got shot, and I remember watching. I was like, "Oh my god, They don't kill Kima. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Remember?
And I don't know why I thought that, but for some reason I thought that was the cliffhanger for the season, but it wasn't. Obviously, I don't know why I thought that was like that. I feel like like you said, that week when Kima got shot, I really felt like we had to wait like a month to find out whether. I mean, I feel like that they drugged that out, and they may not have. It just may seem like it at the time because I was so like, oh my gosh, I know they ain't killed Kima kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
When they shot that goddamn Kima, I was like, oh, come on.
Yeah, that, and then the way it happened, like, damn, she had the gun, but the gun slid. Like, damn.
That goddamn Kima. Now, what I do appreciate is, even if really be like you said, they only plan for the first season, they left so many opportunities for themselves. Because if you go later seasons, there's so many things you have to go all the way back to season 1 and point to. Remember, so and so said ... back in season 1.
Yep.
I mean, characters like Herc, how he ends up, Carver, how he ends up at the very end of
okay, I don't know how he ended up.
I'm not gonna tell you.
Okay, I just want to make sure before you get there.
You ain't watching it. I
haven't watched The Wire in 20 years. I don't remember all this shit.
Season 5. Can barely remember people that on shows she actively watched.
Yeah,
she's not gonna remember that.
What y'all not gonna do is come for me.
No, you
come here. First of all, I'm disturbed by your avatar. It's still.
I gotta take you back.
That's upsetting me and my homegirl because I feel like if we can't go to Bella Noche's,
where we gonna go?
Where we gonna go?
Can we talk about the fact that we're talking about the writing, as Hood and as it was always them one of the overarching themes was the fact that these hood ass black people always outsmarted the police. They were always 4 steps ahead.
Yep.
They really were thinking. Even like I remember the first time I said that was when Omar led them into that cemetery and let them know, hey bitch, I don't want y'all to think I don't see y'all, or I don't know what the fuck y'all got going on. I don't know what y'all got going on. Y'all know what y'all got going on. That was
right.
The next time was when your boy Avon decided to turn himself in. When he let them come in and he was watching them and he said, look at these motherfuckers coming up in here like the SWAT team. And him and Stringer Bell was there ready to go to jail because they knew, we got the money to get out and we got the lawyers to get over this. We've already thought this out and already outsmarted y'all. Come on in. Come on, arrest us. We here.
What about the day basketball game when they were following Avon and he knew they were following him?
And he gave him the finger as he drove past.
The Matumbo way.
The Matumbo like, not today, buddy boy.
But I think that a lot of that goes back to the fact that the police weren't paying attention to them and gave them time to set up certain things, put the codes in place, set up this system that they had. I mean, the fact that this man was running a whole section of a major city virtually undetected, like nobody even had a picture of him. And had it not been for the fact that he boxed when he was a kid, they would have never known what he looked like.
Mm-hmm.
True. Very true.
But
that goes to the ingenuity and the street smartness of Avon. Like if
go ahead, Abby, I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying between him and Stringer Bell, between the two of them, if they had a legit business, they could have been unstoppable.
But the thing about it is, what I was going to say was a lot of times, at first, it was painted like it was Stringer Bell that was the brains and was always the smart one. And come to find out as the season went on, and definitely within season 2 and season 3, that Avon was the one who was really smart. Because Stringer Bell, while he came off as, I'm the brains, will always do something that will fuck shit up.
Right.
And so, and Avon was like, nah, we gotta be. Avon was always the cautious one. Avon was always the one that would say, nah, we need to cover our tracks. Nah, we can't do this. Nah, we can't do that. No, we need to move like this. And Stringer would come up with plans. And a lot of times, while it seemed like it was a good plan at first, it always came back to bite Stringer in the ass and bite both of them in the ass, the things that Stringer would come up with. Even think about how he handled Omar, and Omar was able to get away.
Yeah. I think
that's the one time that I will give Stringer because he was absolutely right about Omar and about Avon going at Omar. Because he knew Omar wasn't going to stop. He knew he was going to keep robbing them. He knew that they needed a truce of some sort.
But I didn't feel that way because Omar immediately knew, nah, and I see exactly what they're doing, which is why he was able to get away and go to New York.
But I'm gonna say this, going back to the statement we were making about the ingenuity. If you look at, I don't know if you guys remember, I love shows like this. Not the movie American Gangster, but there was an actual TV show that used to come on either BET or TV1, I don't remember. But it was called American Gangster. And it was basically, they would do these biographies of all of the drug kingpins from the 80s and the 90s. And when you look at what these black men were doing, like these men were smart enough to be running Fortune 500, which I guess they technically were running Fortune 500 companies, I guess technically. But when you look at how they set up the hierarchies, and thank you, little baby, was BET. When you look at how they set up their system and their hierarchy, they have some of these people even had board of directors and, stakeholders. And these were guys that, had they gone to Wharton, oh my God, what they could have done. So the reality is a lot of these kingpins of the 80s and 90s were doing the things that Avon was doing. They had these systems set up and stuff like that. And so it just goes to show that everybody don't need that degree from Wharton's if they had the same opportunities. You know what I'm saying?
I totally forgot that Prop Joe was in season 1. I thought Prop Joe didn't
come on until season 3. I thought
it was season 2 or 3.
I didn't think he came on until season 3 either.
I totally forgot we saw Prop Joe in season 1. I was like, wait, Prop Joe. Totally.
Because I'll be honest with you, y'all know season 2 was my least favorite, and that's because I felt like anyway, it was my least favorite. But again, I'm excited to look at it through fresh eyes. I honestly am. Even that first episode, I was like, oh, okay. Oh, what I did. Okay, okay. You know what I mean? So I'm excited to see it through fresh eyes. But yeah, Prop Joe, I didn't think we saw Prop Joe till season 3 either, to be honest with you.
I have a question for you ladies.
Oh Lord.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And it's always probably within the first 2 episodes, usually the first episode. What was it about The Wire when you saw it that captivated you or brought you in and made you say, oh shit, this is my shit? And what was the first thing that got you, and what was the thing that cemented it for you that made you say, oh yeah, well, definitely? Because it always is something that first you'd be like, oh, this shit look good as fuck, but then you still kind of be like, oh no, and then it's something that happens, you go, oh hell yeah, I'm fully in. So what was it for you?
It was Omar for me. It was Omar coming through, and when he robbed them people by just talking to him, he's like, I'm gonna be out here all day. I'm gonna keep coming back every day. And then they dropped the drugs out the window by his feet. That's what hooked. I was like, oh. And what really cemented it for me was when they killed Brandon. And I was like, okay, so y'all fucking around. Oh, y'all want to die. He gonna kill all y'all. That's what got me hooked into it, because I was a stand for Omar. Omar was the beginning and the ending for me. I wasn't as huge a fan of Stringer Bell or Avon.
Yeah.
But the storyline with Wallace and Omar is what snagged me and held my attention. Also, McNulty and Bunk's relationship, I really enjoy.
I think for me it's twofold. I think the first thing for me was one, it was local. Like, back then everything was in New York or Los Angeles. Like every TV show, every movie, it was New York or Los Angeles. So something was local. It was full of black people. They had me on that one. I think the second thing for me was I grew up in DC in the 80s, 90s. And although I wasn't like in the hood, I was on the fringes. I had friends who were in the drug game. I had family members who dibbled and dabbled in different things. And so for me, I'm not gonna say it was my reality because I'm not gonna sit here and act like, I was Wallace or nothing like that. But I knew those stories. You know what I'm saying? Like I knew those stories. So for me, it was sort of twofold.
For me, the first thing that caught me was I I grew up in the hood. I grew up across the street from two crack houses. So I knew this was, I grew up in the neighborhood where the dope boys was right next door, so I grew up in this. So the
Mm-hmm.
fact that they told this story and it was so believable for me. And for me it was Bubbles. Ooh, wait a minute. Oh, I'm sorry, I got a little
Mr.
distracted.
Udy.
Oh dear God.
Listen, El Teddy,
I'm
focus,
sorry, I got distracted. Oh.
focus.
Mr. Udy, you done took the man's mind. Jesus, fix it.
Poor Mister.
Anyway, it was Bubbles' character. Oh God, it made me feel good down under. Anyway, hey Mr. Judy, you can go follow me on my channel, LTD27 official. Anyway, when Bubbles' character, remember when it was situations like when Bubbles would school them in when Sidnor tried to dress like a crackhead.
Yes,
And Bubbles was like,
that ain't gonna work.
Right, he broke all that down. I was like, I know that's right, Bubs. You better let me know.
And because that's real, like somebody when you grow up in the neighborhood, you know
Real.
immediately like, who the fuck is this right? And where do you come from? Nah, bro, you ain't believe. Stop that. And so, but the cement for me, the thing that it was for me was Omar. It was always Omar for me. Omar's character was something that made me go, ooh. Not, and it wasn't that I was attracted to Omar, like he was overly attractive because he was just Omar, but just the character itself. Yeah. Ooh, yeah. It was that character just broke all stereotypes for me. So I loved the fact that he was around here, Billy Bad. He was the real Billy Badass. He was like, oh, I'm here for it. He was here for the police. He was here for the gangsters, and then he still looked out for the poor people. So it'd be like a modern day Robin Hood, and you love that about Omar.
Mm-hmm.
Markel, not for drugs, Markel. Markel asked, have we ever been arrested? My answer is
I've been arrested, not for drugs, though.
Who, Omar?
No, us.
No, us. Markel asked if any of us
have been arrested.
I've never been arrested in my life.
I have.
I don't know what the inside, because they would do horrible things to my body if I went to prison. I already know that. I'm aware of that. I'm too small.
I'm mad that that's his reason. He didn't say, no, I'm not gonna break the law. No, I don't.
Yeah,
I hate you, Teddy. I swear.
Y'all know I'm way too small. Y'all know they would throw me from wall to wall in somebody's cell. It wouldn't go well. Would not go well. Tell me I'm lying. Stop.
Absolutely. Drop top stunner. You are absolutely correct. There's a Omar in every hood. You ain't lying.
You better believe it. You better believe it. Because I go back and I remember. I'm not gonna call his name. I remember the Omar in my hood. Yeah, I do got a small.
I remember the Omar in my hood. He was one of my brother's best friends, and I was always protected because nobody better not touch a hair on my chinny chin chin. He was one of my brother's best friends.
I remember the Omar in my hood. I remember a friend of the family sent us to his house to go get some drugs for him, and I went and got it for him. But I remember when I went there, he was in the bedroom and they had the door cracked, and I looked and he was in there getting his dick sucked by some dude, and I was like, and he looked at me like, little nigga, you know not to say nothing. I was like, Sure will. I
Not
was
my
sitting
business.
up with him. I already knew what time it was. He was
The
like,
quote
"Put it
Abby,
on the
I
table."
mind the business that pays
Right. He
me.
was like, put the money on the table and his shit on the table. I put the money on the table and I went in. I think later on now that I think about it, I could have some great nights pleasuring myself to the side of that. I remember because it was real sexy. They were hot. But back then I didn't know about myself at the time.
I didn't know that's where we were going. The minute he
I
paused,
did not know I was
I
gay.
didn't know that's where he was going. The minute he paused and looked to the side, I knew where he was getting ready to go.
Come back.
I didn't know I was gay back then.
Bring it back. Bring it on back. Bring it on back.
And we're back. Hey, Tanya.
So what about the
I do have a small bag.
We already talked about the fact
But
that we didn't see
Beauty, if you want, catch me in my
El Teddy,
Instagram.
Here, focus. Here,
Mr. Beauty just took me
here,
out.
focus. Focus.
And we're back.
Focus.
We already talked about Carver and how we didn't see that coming. What about Bunk? Let's talk about Bunk.
You know, you don't get the totality of Bunk in season 1.
You do not.
You do not.
It takes you get more into Bunk later in the
seasons. Mm-hmm.
It later in the series. I talked about on my review. Weebay was the quintessential.
Listen,
Weebay was ride or die. That was like, oh, I got this. This is what we do. Weebay is what they wanted D to be.
Yes.
Avon wanted D to be like Weebay, and unfortunately, that's just not who. I'm sure D's mom wanted Weebay. I mean, D to be like Weebay more.
Yeah, D was definitely a disappointment to the family.
Watch this. Which makes sense when you get to season 4 and you meet Nay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The corner, I agree, Sylvia. I think the corner, which again was based on Baltimore during the drug, but it was it was a mini series.
Don't get me to crying. Don't get me to cry, Tanya, because more than Wallace, Dookie.
Listen, I don't
want to talk about it. I don't want to go down the road.
We're not gonna go down that road yet, Tanya. We ain't there yet, but
yeah, Dookie,
yeah, Dookie.
Ooh. I'm still mad that his name was Dookie.
Well, it's always one of them in every hood too, Dookie.
Mm-hmm.
I think, Markel, I think we've become a victim. When I say we, I mean television has become a victim of everything else in our society where they want that instant hook, that instant gratification. And I think we don't have stories like The Wire anymore because a lot of times they don't allow stories to develop. The Wire didn't happen in one episode. You really needed to watch a couple of episodes to really, truly get it and get hooked and understand. And I think now with a lot of new shows, we've had some shows that start off really good and then after like season 2 sort of fall off. And I think a lot of that has to do with the studios wanting these instant hits and not really wanting to give time for stuff to evolve. And I use Power as an example. I liked Power from the beginning, but after about season 2 of Power, I was like, y'all have pretty much exhausted this storyline. And because you didn't develop any other characters, because you didn't bring any other realistic storylines into this, now you're stuck. And you're stuck doing the same storyline every season, just, putting a different twist on it. But it was the same, storyline. And so when I look at a show like The Wire, a lot of these side storylines, if you think about it, could have been independent storylines and could have carried their own show. The whole dynamic, you know what I'm saying? Like the whole dynamic.
Really, that's how I know you don't watch my channel because I've already released my review. Come check me out on my channel because I do review it. But I don't think The Wire could have happened on network television.
Absolutely not.
Oh no, absolutely not.
And I think that The Wire came at a time when HBO was ready and willing to take those types of risks. Had it not been for Oz, I don't think we would have gotten The Wire.
Yeah,
I think Oz had to be the precursor to let HBO know, white America will watch shows that has predominantly, you know, black people in it, and that is raw and edgy and has good writing. So I think you can kill off people and still get away with it. So I
Yeah.
think that Oz started it where HBO was willing to take those risks and show things and do things that push the envelope. Um, and then the Wire came and said, "Oh, you open the door? Well, we just you crease the door, or we just gonna come bust it wide open." And so I think that's kind of what happened. Now, in terms of, I don't like to, and to answer your question, Markel, has there been anything that compares? Or I always say a great show doesn't compare to anything. It's its own entity. And what happens is that great show has other things that people would try to compare to it. You understand what I'm saying? So when I wasn't comparing Oz to The Wire because they're totally different things,
Two
but
different
I think
animals.
that some of the things that The Wire was able to do and show, they would not have been able to do had another show not come before it that was pushing envelopes. So yeah, that greatness does that. Greatness
Oh,
always
thank you, Tanya.
goes along.
And I like that too, El Teddy, because I really don't like comparing, because especially when something is that good, I really don't even want to dilute it by comparing it to something else. Now that's valid. Um, Mr. Zudi, yes, all of us are watching. All of us are reviewing P Valley, and we probably will do some P Valley live conversations. We used to do this every Friday night, and then we sort of got away from it. And I think maybe we might pick it up. We have Greenleaf now, that maybe we can have a live conversation next week. Or
What show did we start? Was it Green?
I think we started with David Makes Man. No, did we start with David Makes Man?
I
Yep.
think it was David Makes Man. I didn't know if it was Queen
I thought
Sugar.
we were doing something for, but we did Greenleaf, we did David Makes Man, we did Queen
But I
Sugar.
think David make. I thought it was Queen Sugar because I remember Queen Sugar and David Makes Man were playing simultaneously before Greenleaf came back.
But we will.
I thought it was maybe Queen Sugar, but I guess it might have been David Makes Man. It might have been.
Maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe I'll bring back the Friday night live TV conversations, because we did it for a while, and then all of our shows went off, and we didn't really have anything. There were no more shows that we were all collectively reviewing at that point.
And
so
if you have HBO Max, David Makes a Man is on HBO Max.
It is. I saw that.
Yeah.
I'm going back and rewatch the whole first season again to really appreciate it. I appreciate
Jonathan, you asking for a lot.
I watched it.
I'm watching season 1 right now. Matter of fact, my next episode will be dropping this weekend. I went back to watch season 1 my damn self, because I never watched it, child.
I watched the Oval. I just don't review the Oval, but I watch every episode. Mrs. Zudi,
I'm sorry, Mr. Udi. I watched the first episode of the Oval.
What happened to Yuma and Yuma and what's the other white guy who just got killed? Name the white dude who got killed. Mitch, was it Mitch?
I don't know, but I can't do it. I'm sorry, Mr.
The black lesbian lady, Yuma.
You like your Tyler Perry shows, boo, but I can't. I cannot.
Wow, loving my piece. That's an interesting comment.
I do not watch. I do not watch. Well, I've watched the first episode.
I do, Miss Tanya.
But I haven't watched anymore.
I do. I watch it.
I never started it. I loved her in, what was the show? Bubblegum or
Chewing Gum?
Mm-hmm. Chewing Gum. I loved her in Chewing Gum. I loved that show, Chewing Gum, on Netflix. But I have not watched the show I May Destroy You. So I don't know.
I want to care because
it's supposed to be based on a true
story. So I want to care, but I just Below Snowfall was renewed. I don't know when it's going to debut, because with everything with John Singleton passing, and then with COVID and stuff, I don't, because it normally premieres in August, but I haven't heard anything about a premiere date. But it was renewed. That I know.
They said, have you reviewed Snowfall?
Yeah.
My bad. I thought she said that they renew it.
I watched Snowfall. I just never reviewed it.
I've never seen an episode
with you. Some shows I just need to watch and enjoy, because sometimes it is a chore to review a show. Like with David Makes a Man,
You gotta pay attention.
If my review for David Makes a Man came out right afterwards, I probably did that review without notes and just went straight off my head because it was so good. But normally for David Makes a Man, I would have to watch it just to enjoy it and then come back and watch it again so I could take my notes and now be focused on the notes because it was just that good for me. I was like, yeah. Because I remember the first episode, I had no notes. I just sat there and just went straight off the dome because I was so excited about it.
I ain't had no notes either.
I
You
do.
don't do notes, and I don't know how you do that really.
I have to have notes.
I do notes sometimes. Like The Wire, I do notes. Like I do notes for The
Well,
Wire.
I know I'm saying you do no notes more often than
Yeah.
I just don't have the mental capacity. The way my brain is set, I be done forgot something.
Well, I do forget stuff sometimes, and I get mad at myself because there'll be stuff that I want to say and I'll forget. So Lil Baby, and this will mean you going. I think we're gonna disagree on this one. I didn't necessarily have a problem with that because it wasn't like McNulty packed up his kids and took them on a stakeout. They were out shopping. They ran into Stringer Bell, and he sort of took advantage of the opportunity. Now, the fact that they got lost and he had to get security to find them, that wasn't cute. But I didn't really think that what he did was harmless. I thought it was really harmless. Like, I didn't think it was that serious.
You know what?
I'm not a mother, so maybe.
We talk
I
about
didn't have a problem
things.
with it either.
We all three of us talk about the fact that this show has subtle things about it that you don't get until way later on. And we'll have to explore it, but I'm just going to mention one character's name, and you think about where that person ended up by season 5 and everything on Rhonda Perlman.
Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation.
Child.
Baby. Because, and watch this, the person she ends up with talked about her in season 1. A little bit. It was real quick, real subtle, and you ain't even paying attention to it. But when I saw it again, rewatching season 1, I said, "Oh, he did like her from season 1," and it was so quick.
Oh, he did. Oh, he definitely liked her from season 1.
I did y'all see what Love and My Peace said about Queen Sugar? I can't say I love the writing in Queen Sugar. I think
I love it.
I think that it goes back to what you said earlier, really be where we become a part of the microwave generation where everything must happen quickly and you don't give characters a chance to develop and grow, and you don't get to see the full arc of the character development. And so you see a lot of that in the writing of Queen Sugar, where it's layered out. And I talked about this before when we were talking about the show. Queen Sugar and Greenleaf are both great shows, phenomenal shows. However, the difference is Queen Sugar is way more layered. It's way more, you got to go deep into the character and the writing, whereas a lot of Greenleaf is surface writing and surface fishing. Not that it isn't good, but you don't have to go way deep into the layers to really pick out what's going on.
And I think, and I'm guilty. Before I preface this, let me preface by saying I'm guilty of this as well. But I think sometimes we feel like something has to happen in every episode. We say it all the time. This episode was sort of dry, but but I think sometimes it's okay to just lay the storyline and get us set up for the next thing that's coming over the hill. You know what I'm saying? And so Queen Sugar, they do have a lot of valleys, but there's a lot of peaks. And when I think if you ride through the valley, when you get to the peak, you're like, oh shit! Like they. Now I will say I was not happy with this last season and that whole storyline that they did last season with the secret family thing. I wasn't crazy about that, but I do want to see what they do with it this year. But I will say I was not crazy about that.
What secret family?
That whole with the
aunt or whatever.
Right, Aunt Vi knew about the secret that he had the daughter, and that the daughter ended up being the one that was coming.
That Sam had the daughter.
Huh?
That she helped Sam daughter get away.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Oh, okay.
Yeah. I wasn't crazy about that whole storyline, but I'm gonna wait. I'm reserved and see, how that plays out. I wasn't crazy about that, but we'll see. We'll see. We will see. We will see. Well, any other characters y'all want to flesh out? Anybody else that y'all on y'all mind?
Let me think. Bodie, I'd love to talk about Bodie.
All right, let's talk about.
Bodie. First of all, Bodie got me in the beginning because Bodie was cute. I'm not gonna lie, I will be superficial at first. Bodie was always cute, but Bodie was from Oz, and so I remembered Bodie from Oz, and Bodie was.
I remember him from Oz, yeah.
And I was like, oh. And so, but Bodie's character just, and I'm going to keep it to season 1. I'm going to stay on season 1 because, like I said, there's a whole arc to Bodie. But just seeing where Bodie started off, where Bodie was unyielding to learn or unyielding to bend or always wanted to be how Bodie was, and seeing that Bodie by the end of season 1, he still was kind of that way, but he had his eyes on the prize from the beginning. He knew he wanted to move up in the drug game. He was going to do whatever he needed to do to move up in the drug game, and he did. And we saw by the end of season 1, he was running one of the towers.
Yeah.
And consequently, you see Poot took over Dee's role.
Right.
Where Poot ended up being, where Bodie came off as this hard character that was willing to beat anybody or do anything, but when push came to shove and it was time for him to kill Wallace, he couldn't kill Wallace. Poot ended up having to do it, but then at the end, you see Poot ended up having to taking on that role of D, where he was more of the teacher and willing to bend a little bit and work with, the people working under him, as opposed to how Bodie was, because Bodie was still hardcore Bodie by the end of season 1, and we know where he ends up going. Sidnor was a cutie. Carver was a cutie back then too, and not so much on Walking Dead now, but Carver was a cutie back then. I'm sorry. He was.
Okay. I don't know about that one, but okay.
He was cute back then.
Not to me. I don't know.
Every week, the way your eyelash just did that.
I never watched 24. I never did 24.
I watched 24.
I did, but I was really only watching for the black president because I
didn't like the new one. I didn't like after it changed and they had the black guy that was the main character. When they redid it, they had.
Oh yeah, I didn't watch it when they redid it.
I didn't like that, but the original 24 was so good. The original 24 was good.
Yeah, D'Angelo was definitely not built for the game, but that is a very legit situation where, like he said when he got arrested, I was born into this. Like, this is all I ever knew. And there was never any expectation of me other than I would go into the game. There was no expectation of college. There was no expectation of we want you to do better than us and get the hell out of here. It was you're going to do what you have to do and you're going to be in the game and your uncle going to set you up and you're going to play your position. And so, but I know people who was in that situation, like that was all that was ever expected of them. Is that they went in and they did that, and but here's where I feel that his family, okay, and this is gonna be crazy. This is where I feel that his family was guilty because his family knew he wasn't built for that, and they tried to make him, instead of letting him go off and do, because I feel like they would have been better off letting D'Angelo go off and do his own thing, be the intellectual, be the whatever, like whatever. But they were trying to force him into that life, and they knew he wasn't meant for that. They knew he wasn't.
The mom knew he wasn't, and I hated when the mom came and talked to him in prison. I hated how quickly he bent for his mom, and I guess it makes sense. But when the mom came and talked to him, and then all of a sudden they got that call saying that Levy was back being his lawyer, and he had because remember he had the public defender at first. Because he had told String of them they can go to shit after he found out Wallace got killed, and he had his own public defender.
Yeah, I know you're talking about, Well, the reality is low key. Well, one, that's a mom. That's that mother son situation. Mm-hmm. But two, she low key told him, you know you basically writing your death warrant. Like she low key told him you do, like when he said, when she said even your own son, basically she was letting him know your son gonna grow up without a daddy, and I don't mean in jail. I mean without a daddy. Like, do you really think you about to go into witness protection? Like, you really think that's how this is about to end? Like, that's what you think is about to happen? You about to drive off into the sunset? No. No, sir.
I would just like to point out the parallel of D'Angelo and Nay, and the fact that D'Angelo did not have.
I don't. La.
What the fuck are you doing?
I don't know who Nay is. I don't remember Nay. I don't want to know who Nay is.
So why would you, if you don't know what a...
Because I know y'all talking about something that happens in future seasons, and I don't want to know. So I was closing my ears so y'all can have that conversation. Like, I legit don't remember most of what happened, so I don't know who Nate is, and I don't remember nothing about it.
Season four.
What part of I don't remember? I don't know how many different ways y'all want me to keep telling y'all this stuff.
Okay, I'm just watch this video. I'm looking forward to you watching season 4. That's all I'm saying. I'm so
remember.
I'm not
all the man said is he can't wait for you to watch.
I'm looking forward to you watching season 4. You over here, and I'm not even saying nothing about season 4, especially as an educator. Especially.
Exactly.
What do you mean, especially as an educator? What's that supposed to mean? What are you saying?
Because season 1 was in the low rises. Season 2 is on the docks. Season 3, I don't even remember what season 3 was.
Season 4 you mean I know. Okay, so that's season 4 with the whole school thing.
Yes, season 4 was
the
school and education.
I remember that part of it.
Season 5 was the newspaper. I don't remember what season 3 was.
I still don't. I remember the main
City Hall.
But
I think maybe. Hold on.
I just really don't remember where
season 3. I think was
Clay Davis. That's why I thought it was City Hall for season 3. I don't know. I could be. I don't remember. But I know season 5 was the newspaper. I remember that vividly. It was the newspaper, and season 4 was the school.
Season 3 is when they knocked down the towers.
We found out about
all the season. Yeah.
Glenn Turman was the mayor of Baltimore. Remember?
Yes. That's season 3.
Season 3 was City Hall, if I'm not mistaken. I think season 3 was City Hall.
I think it's season. Yeah.
But that actually happens, little baby. That happens all the time. Like police officers have snitches all the time, and that happens. Like that legit happens all the time. Like legit. So that situation with Bubs really is.
The thing about it is,
unique situation.
Bubbles, when you study The Wire, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Bubbles was actually a real, I want to call him a crackhead, but he was a real Baltimore resident. He was a real somebody on the streets of Baltimore. That they said, "Nah, we want you to be in this show." If I remember reading correctly about Bubbles, and he wasn't like, "Okay, I'm finna be this actor that's finna portray the role of a Baltimore." If I'm not mistaken, it was him or somebody. But I know Snoop was from Baltimore. I know Snoop's from Baltimore, but I know I thought somebody's gonna fact check me. I think it was Baltimore.
I'll be honest, I don't know, but what I do know is they did use local actors. Because Big G, he's from DC, and he was on there. I don't, and like I told you, El Teddy, it wasn't nothing for us to be at the mall and see people from The Wire. Like when they were filming, I used to see Bubs all the time. I used to see, what?
Weebay was from the neighborhood, from Baltimore. The guy who played Weebay. Hold on,
I could definitely see that. Yeah, and
I know Snoop was.
Yeah, Snoop definitely was. Yeah, Snoop.
But yeah, it is so interesting, and I think it made sense for them to have people that legitimately was about that life or in the hood, and that could play those parts, some of those parts. Like Snoop played the hell out of her part. Snoop played that part.
Yeah, she did. She definitely
played that part. And I always say the most long standing things from The Wire is two things. It's Clay Davis says shit. And Weebay, the meme of Weebay is from season 1.
Where he's like,
found out
when he found out that Kiva was a
that
cop.
Kiva was a cop and was like, oh, that meme right
That meme, right, exactly. So, but the character of Bubs was an actual person, but the person who played him
was not a. He was just an actor. He was never on drugs.
Only one of them was straight out the hood from Baltimore.
Yeah, that Baltimore accent is definitely unique. If you've ever heard a Baltimore accent, you know that somebody's from Baltimore. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts. You know they from Baltimore.
The fact that they say Baltimore and not Baltimore.
Right, because even D, I think D might have been from Baltimore because you hear the way he talked, he definitely had that Baltimore accent down.
Like I didn't even know until one of my close friends, Tony, who lives in DC, and I would go up there to visit him sometimes. Until I heard him, some of the people he hung around that was from Baltimore say Baltimore. I'd never heard that term Baltimore. I just thought it was Baltimore.
And see, I never said it's Baltimore. It's Baltimore.
But people from that area, they go, "Nah, that's Baltimore." Like there's a D in the middle of that.
Right. It is Baltimore. It is. It is.
And it's a real big thing. They are real serious about it too. They are real serious.
Right. Just like the way they say T, do, dog. They don't say dog. They say Doug. Like a real Baltimore dude, Doug. It's not dog. There's no O or G in that word. It's D-U-G, Doug.
That's just like in Florida, people from Jacksonville, they pronounce the soft A like an I. So instead of saying I'm going back to Cali, they would say I'm going bike to Cali.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's a Jacksonville thing.
Well, that's like in DC. There is no TH. It's a V. Mother, father. There's no TH. It's a V. Mother, father. And I never really paid attention to that again until because that's just how everybody said it. My mother, my father.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, what?
That's interesting.
No, I'm thinking about people who I know from DC, and now that you say that, I hear it now. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm like, interesting. Because I hear it now from people who I know from that area. Little baby ain't lying. I ain't lying. Look what little baby thought. Little baby know I ain't lying. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yep. So yeah, that's the thing. So yeah, that definitely is a nuance that they had to get right, or people would be like, oh hell no, like they ain't from Baltimore. Like you said, they would hear it immediately. They would hear certain word, and like I said, I heard it with D. If you ever heard D say the word two, he said two like somebody from Baltimore would say two. Yeah.
I got another example.
The Philly Baltimore accent is very close, but because my brother lived in Philly and my niece, is from, like, I can hear it, but it's a very similar accent. Very similar.
You know what? The one time I can tell you that when it relates to Miami, when I watched Moonlight and the first section of Moonlight, the little boy who's Kevin on the Shy now, but the little boy who was Lil, he's from Miami. So him and all of the kids had a Miami accent. But the mom did not talk like anybody from Miami. And so whenever I would hear the mom talk, I would be like, nah, she's English too. She's from England as well.
Okay.
But I would hear her talk to her son, and I would be like, I don't buy it. Because I was like, that ain't no Miami accent. That's not how we talk in Miami.
Right. And it's things that you hear. Like, again, I can hear somebody from DC. I could be in London and I could hear a DC accent. Like, I can hear it. I can tell immediately. And when people say they from DC, if they talk long enough, I can tell whether they from DC or they from the suburbs. Like, I can tell. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely interesting when you hear it. Like you said, when you look at TV shows, those are the things that you look for to see how authentic it is because you're looking for that stuff. You know what I'm saying? And that is definitely something that, like I said, you can hear the accent and a lot of those characters. Even I feel like they had a language coach because even Stringer Bell, there's certain words that he says that are Baltimore.
Mm.
You know, so I feel like they probably had a linguistics coach to help them with all of that.
Probably.
Hell, well, since they were filming in Baltimore and they had people there from, they probably just had them telling. They probably had people on the set who was like, "That ain't right." Kind of like Bugs was helping.
Consultants. They probably had consultants and people that were like, "Nah, you can't do that.
Yeah,
no, you can't do that like that. That's not gonna work out."
Right. Yeah, so drop the Stunner said Baltimore and Philly, they say mother too. But I guess they do. I guess I don't know. I never paid attention. But I know that definitely is a DC mother father. Like I know because I say it. I still to this day say it. Like other words I try to articulate correctly, but I still say mother father. I don't never say mother unless I'm being sarcastic. If I say mother, I'm being sarcastic. You know what I'm saying? Anyway. All right, you guys, we have 9 more minutes, and then we're gonna wrap it up. We've been in
Miami. We say old boy and old girl. We do. Hey, watch this. I'm gonna give you this. How you know Miami? So if they're older than you, the name you give them is a younger name. But if they're like your age or with you, then you give them a older name. So your mom and your dad is your old girl and your old boy, but your husband or your wife is your old man or your old lady. But yeah, in Miami, if somebody say, "Oh, my old boy," da da da, that's his daddy, or my old girl, or they'll say your OG, your old girl.
Now that's interesting, yeah.
Or
well, DC has their own slang. Like there's certain words that only people from DC use, or you like. And I think everybody sort of has that. You know what I'm saying? But definitely, there's some words that I'll be like, if I hear somebody say it, I'll be like, "You from DC?" Just like in Philly, everything is John. John, what's up? That's hand me the John. That's my John. I'm like, what the fuck is a John? But that's like
everything. It could be that's a person.
There's words that are straight Miami. Like if I tried to explain to you what it meant, you wouldn't even understand.
Right. It just wouldn't. Yeah.
Like it would take me so long for you to understand. Everybody in Miami immediately know. If I said, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, they." Da-da-da. You'll be like, "Wait, what?"
Well, Mr. Zudi, we know you got that English accent going. He said, "Imagine if Putin was trying to speak English." He said, "That's what his accent is."
You talk to me in your accent when you.
Shut up! Wow. Focus right here. Focus. We only need with 3 more minutes, El Teddy.
Right. That's just right. That's just like the 2 words. You good means 10 different things depending on how you saying it and who you saying it to.
Now that's true because you hit me with the "you good" and it's
right.
You say North Miami is the actual city. Okay, North Miami is the actual city within the Miami-Dade County area. Tallahassee is not North Miami. Tallahassee is Tallahassee. We call that country.
See.
Wow.
Well, jit is a Miami term. Jit is a Miami term. That is straight Miami. Be like, that jit over there don't know what he talking about. Yeah, that's if you hear somebody say jit, they from Miami. Yeah.
I said the same thing, John, when I moved here, really be. Yeah, I mean, when I go up north is when I hear people saying John. I really heard it in Philly. When I connected to Philly because that's where I would hear it. So maybe in like New Jersey and stuff like that, they use it too. But I heard it for my people from Philly, you know.
Right, me too. That's definitely a Philly thing.
Yeah, DC. DC joint and John. Mm-hmm.
Like
and then
Miami,
DC, everybody is Joe. Miami. Everybody is Joe. What's up, Joe? How you doing, Joe? With Joe. Everybody Joe.
Well, Funky Dineva is from Miami. Funky Dineva is from Miami.
Yeah, he's
And
from around.
Funny Dineva is my age. We were in college. Well, he's like a year too young. I think he's a year younger than me. But we went to the same college as well.
Yeah.
Around the same time, at the same time.
Yep. Everything is Joe. Yeah. Yep. That's just like when my students be like, "All right, Joe, I'm not Joe. Don't call me Joe." Back on up. And it's funny, like when we would have teachers that weren't from DC, and they would be like, "Why are they calling me Joe? They call everybody Joe. It's not. It's not you. They call everybody Joe." Like the key is to not let them, because they're gonna call. If you let them call you Joe, you're gonna be Joe forever, and everybody is Joe. Like, don't do it. Don't do it to yourself. Yes. So are we? So I already said I'm looking forward to season 2. So Abby, you've already started episode 1. So what are we looking forward to?
Abby started episode 1.
Yeah, because Abby. I told Abby the same thing.
This one told me we was dropping the episode. We were supposed to drop the episode yesterday. I watched it this afternoon and did my review and dropped it right before.
Because me and El Teddy talked about it.
She told me that y'all talked about it and y'all came to that conclusion.
Because
so I was the only one not included in on the
Now you're lying. I've never been so thin. You're lying because you think she's better than everybody. She ain't better than anybody. She ain't better than
You know what? Screw both y'all. We had that conversation.
Mm-hmm. That's a lie. That's a lie. It's just I haven't been feeling that well.
What new Netflix show? I don't know what you said about.
Can you put Mr. Judy's comment back up so I can ogle at his body again? Okay.
Oh yeah, well DC Stunner. I mean, I was gonna say DC Stunner, Drop Top Stunner. Yeah, that goes without saying.
I need to put Mr. Judy's picture up so I can ogle at his body again.
Yeah, everybody know that. Drop Top. If you don't know that about DC, then I don't know what to tell you. And everybody's mumbo sauce is different. That's the thing too. You're never going to go to two places and have the same mumbo sauce. Everybody's mumbo sauce.
I don't even know what mumbo sauce is.
Mrs. Judy, the answer to your question is probably I can't speak. The answer to your question is I don't know because I don't even know the name of the show. And
I don't even know what show you're talking about.
Yeah, I would have to go and check it out to find out if it's something that I.
But y'all know I'm good. You know, Netflix shows work for us. Netflix shows work for me. I do good with Netflix shows. Let me see.
Yeah, I'm not going to say no. I'm going to say I got to go find out which show you're talking about. And
Mrs. Judy, if you want to know, I am the person who you run shows by because I'm pretty good with getting the ladies to review a show. Now, that's what I do. That I am pretty good about getting us to review certain shows. I'm not good about a lot of things. But one thing that I have
wait a minute, Abby, get that clip. Screenshot that clip. He just said I'm not good at a lot of things. Get that. We're gonna put that on a loop.
Oh, I know I'm not good at a lot of things. I will admit that.
I ain't never heard you admit that before in my life.
I am good at picking shows for us to review. That you cannot lie about.
The DMV kids stuck out like sore thumbs at school. Yeah. I'm sure they did down in Miami.
New York versus Mafia. No, you need to put up Mr. Zudi's comment so we can write that down. I mean, so we can look at that.
I know why you want to watch it. I mean, why?
I'm trying to see the name of the show.
It's called Fear City. Write it down.
Can you put it up? God. You're such a hater.
Fear City.
You're such a hater. I needed to see exactly how he wrote it. God.
We are not going to objectify Mr. Zudi. We will not do that.
Sure we will. What happened?
Damn, Abby, you supposed to be with me.
Fine is fine. Listen, I can't. What you mean? But what you mean?
Anyway, thank you guys.
You said Fear City. Hold on. I'm on it right now. Hold on. Okay. That stupid ass Fatal Affair. So that's the first thing I see. I don't need that in my life.
Yeah, I'm not watching that.
I'm not watching that. I may.
Now I got that damn song in my head, El Teddy.
What song?
You lying, I never been so. That one.
Oh.
Oh.
If you don't talk to me, I don't see it, Mr. Okay.
That's why I say she need to put his comment up.
Maybe it's not drop. Maybe when is it supposed to come out, Mr. Zudi?
Is it
Watch
on?
the trailer. So the trailer is good. Okay, so we gotta find the trailer and watch the trailer because it must not be out yet.
Okay, right.
Fear City. Okay, we'll watch the trailer.
Mr. Zudi, are you in the States? Because
No, he's in Portugal.
Do we
Wait,
know if
you
it's
can't
on
tell me
US
about
Netflix? Because that might be why we can't see it.
Oh,
Because
I
some
thought you
things
were
be
asking if he was
available
in the
in
States.
one country that aren't available in another.
Now I'm surprised the Bay didn't tell me.
Okay.
Oh, it's gonna come on the
Okay.
27th. Okay.
The Bay is tripping. I need to call him.
Oh Lord.
Uh-oh.
No, he was supposed to do something, and yeah.
All right, you guys. Well, thank you guys for being here for me. I appreciate it. Well, and us, I'm not me. For us, we enjoyed it, and we are definitely looking forward to you guys catching up the ride and riding with us through season 2. El Teddy will drop his episode 1 whenever he drop it.
US at the end of the month. Okay, thank you.
Oh, I see it. It is there, Fear City. Is it out
And
now?
with that,
No, it's not out yet.
okay,
Oh,
US at
it's
the end of the
coming
month.
Wednesday. It's supposed to be coming on Wednesday.
Yeah, the 27th, whatever day that is.
Mine says limited series coming Wednesday. Now, Mr. Judy, I'm gonna be honest. I'm a little prejudiced, so I'm gonna need to see a little melanin somewhere in here, or I'm gonna immediately be like, see, the way my melanin is set up, I can't.
And on that note, we're gonna go. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Appreciate y'all. El Teddy, you gonna say goodbye?
Goodbye, everyone. I love y'all. Oh, hey, Mrs. Judy. Mrs. Judy, you need to hit me up. I have a wonderful Instagram.
And
L3027 official, all one word.
Goodbye.